But the consequences of ignoring this formula may lead us into the pit of World War III. How to prevent World War III. It is apparent from the current situation of the world that it is hastily moving towards destruction. Now, it may surprise you that these words were uttered not recently, but over 2 decades ago by none other than the Caliph of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, at a time when very few people were apprehensive of the threat of a world war. A survey conducted by the American Psychological Association soon after Russia invaded Ukraine found that 7 in 10 Americans feared that we are at the beginning stages of World War III. And now it seems quite easy to jump on the World War III bandwagon. But true leadership and true foresight was to have predicted such a devastating chain of events a long time ago. Not only that, but to warn world leaders, sound the alarm, and emphasize the steps needed to avoid a possible world war. His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the Caliph and worldwide head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, has done precisely this year after year, and through various different means, outshining every single religious leader in this aspect. How so, you may ask? For starters, dialogue and diplomacy are key steps in establishing peace. And we see that through the example of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, who would do exactly that. His Holiness too has travelled far and wide to address the Capitol Hill, the European Parliament, UNESCO headquarters, and the House of Commons, to name a few, in an endeavour to depict the true picture of Islam, whilst urging those who can make a difference to take action before it's too late. Besides His Holiness, no other religious leader has delivered this message of peace so emphatically. Secondly, in 2012, His Holiness wrote letters to world leaders inviting them to participate in bringing about world peace and concord. In these letters, His Holiness categorically called out the double standards practiced by the big powers, the failure in establishing peace in conflict-hit regions like Gaza, and the probability of a widening world war if concrete measures are not taken. Now, fast forward to the COVID pandemic, during which His Holiness wrote another series of letters urging world leaders to consider the devastating effects of the pandemic as a divine warning for mankind. And thirdly, another step taken by His Holiness year in, year out are the keynote addresses at the National Peace Symposium, a key event of the community attended by hundreds of dignitaries and held at the largest mosque in Western Europe. In these speeches, His Holiness also laid out fundamental steps required to prevent a world war from wreaking havoc, and called the world to recognize its creator, establish absolute justice, foster global unity, seek nuclear disarmament, eliminate weapon profiteering, create economic equity and eradicate poverty, work for the good of one's nation, reject extremism, and instill service to humanity. His Holiness has established this golden formula to prevent a world war, but the consequences of ignoring this formula may lead us into the pit of World War III. And you know what? His Holiness has not left a stone unturned. From scrutinizing big powers for funding extremists with arms and addressing the entire corruption within the arms trade, to condemning international organizations for turning a blind eye to global conflicts. This is the leader that the world needs. The Muslim Ummah is yearning for a Khalifa to unite the Ummah, and His Holiness is the very answer to the absence of unity and peace within the world. And with all that said, amidst all solutions presented by His Holiness has stressed on prayer above all, which is essential for all other solutions mentioned to become operational. Ultimately, it's the power of prayer and striving that should be the very foundation in our quest to prevent a world war.